Have you ever wondered if the reality that we're living in is truly our own? If any of you have felt like something in this world just isn't adding up, this is the conversation that could shift everything for you.
For anyone who doubts mind control, I say, have you ever seen normal marketing? That's mind control.
If there was anything to be learned, is that it's our responsibility.
What can they look out for? Because you've called things well in advance, and the more of us that can pick this up, the more they just can't get away with it any longer.
The only weapon they have against us is fear. This is not for wusses, I tell you that. This is hardcore courage.
They feed off of negativity. They feed off of fear. They feed off of trauma. They feed off division.
But you see, it's marketing and MK Ultra like this.
But here's the game changer. It's time for us all to really wake up. And for those of you that have been on this journey for a long, long while, welcome. You are going to love this conversation. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the world of mind control techniques and false flag events, tools used to manipulate and keep us locked in a system that benefits a very few. But here's the game changer. By understanding these methods, we can break free from the matrix and reclaim our power. So if any of you have felt like something in this world just isn't adding up, this is the conversation that could shift everything for you. It's time for us all to really wake up. And for those of you that have been on this journey for a long, long while, welcome. You are going to love this conversation. So let me introduce my two amazing guests, Cathy O'Brien and Ole Dammegard. We'll start with ladies first.
Yep.
So Cathy O'Brien has been speaking out for over 35 years on her experience in MK Ultra mind control and healing from it. Knowledge is our defense against mind control, and Cathy's experience empowers her insights into the far-reaching effects of mind control on society today and what we can all do to reclaim, protect, and expand our free thought. Cathy's the author of 2 books, PTSD, Time to Heal, and Transformation of America. And you also all need to check out her amazing film, trance movie, Access Denied for Reasons of National Security. And Ole Dammegard, truth seeker, code breaker, and peacemaker. So Ole has devoted his life to find the real truth and lift the veil of deception. Known as the expert on decoding false flag events, Ole has been awarded the Prague Peace Prize, been adopted by the Apache Nation, is an author, international speaker, former journalist, musician, composer, coach, artist, inventor, and most importantly, an investigator who's dedicated more than 40 years researching many of the global conspiracies. So this is such a powerful combination. It's so beautiful to have you both here. So a big welcome. Let's start with ladies. Cathy, it's such a pleasure to have you in the same virtual room as Ole. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited for this conversation because so many people are waking up these days on a global scale and wondering what in the world is going on. And once they know the truth, it's truth that makes us free to reclaim our own power. So this is a delightful opportunity to empower others with truth.
It sure is. And Ole, I've got to do a special thanks to you for staying up very, very late at night to join us today. How is everything in your world? Because I know there's a lot of exciting things happening.
Life is beautiful. It's beautiful, as my sweetheart says. It is not an easy ride, but it's beautiful. Lots of challenges, and then in this dark world, I get to meet wonderful people like yourself and Cathy, I've been aware of since God knows when. I mean, you were one of the first ones that were starting to talk about these things that I know. I've never heard of it before, and to start with, I just felt, what is she on about? It was just so out there. For way out of my league at that time. But then so I didn't understand, but it's over the years, I always tried to have an open mind and just listen and learn and not judge. And then over the years, unfortunately, I found out that everything you said is true. I wish it was not, and I'm very sorry for the things that you had to Yeah. So I've been devoting my life coming in from another point of view, but it's been many times the same individuals that I've been tracking down that were the ones that put you in these difficult situations. So it's sort of like we're coming together like this.
That's so beautiful. You know, it is only a small handful at the very top of this global slave society agenda that we're all being exposed to. And when we realize that, we realize even further how inexcusable it is that we allow this handful of self-appointed, self-anointed, unelected, that's a capital UN, unelected global leaders to manipulate our brilliant minds and lives anymore. This is an amazing time to be alive. And ultimately, the mind control agenda is a spiritual battle. So, you know, having been around these perpetrators deep in the swamp in Washington, D.C., and seeing how they think and what they think, I know their greatest fear is the strength of the human spirit and the power of love, that infinite power of love, because that vibration is so high. They can't touch it. They're such a low negative vibration, such a dark energy force that they feed off of negativity. They feed off of fear. They feed off of trauma. They feed off division. They feed off of this extremely low vibration. And when we remember who we are and why we're here, when we reclaim our own power, live the love we are, and raise that vibration, they can't hang on anymore. It's game over. It's like light shining in the dark. They're exposed and they operate in secrecy. So, you know, this is an amazing time for us to be coming together, considering I found out who they are and what they're doing from deep inside their agenda, whereas you researched with your eyes open, daring to see truth. And it's the same point. It would come to the same conclusion because truth is simple. It's their lies that are complicated.
That's such beautiful. Sorry, carry on.
No, please, Catherine.
Well, I was just saying, it's so powerful, like you both pointed out, that when you open your eyes and heart to these things, so many people are so afraid to do that because you've both touched on the fact that fear is such a major control mechanism. And I think even though it's incredible how many people are opening up now, I mean, I've been on a few of Olay's webinars and just the range of people from across the globe that are starting to ask these questions, thanks to both of you for opening all our eyes to these sort of things. But what I wanted to ask you both is the mind control. We hear it said so many times, and obviously, Cathy, you're an absolute expert of this for all you've had to endure and literally learn the hard way. But so many people, members of the public, think that they're not susceptible to mind control. You know, we know there's the extreme versions, but what a lot of people don't realize is how there's such a scale of mind control. What are you still seeing playing out, Cathy? What can you point out to people that are watching this, perhaps opening their minds to this sort of thing, for a new thing for them? How can they really accept that they are subject to this and they really need to look deeper?
Well, mind control is a scientific formula, and it's the same whether it's of an individual, a nation, or the world. Trauma is the basis of it. And it's the way our brains respond to trauma. And when we understand that, we'll be able to safeguard our free thought going forward. But whenever trauma occurs, whether it's personal trauma or national trauma or global trauma, our conscious mind freezes in fright and leaves the subconscious mind wide open to being easily led and manipulated. Without a conscious mind filter, we just take information in. And that information, if it's a repetitive narrative, like we got through the controlled media, that repetition is the most basic form of mind control. It's the most basic way to manipulate the subconscious mind. So when we consider that mind control is a sliding scale from the kind of torturous, robotic MK Ultra mind control that I experienced on a White House Pentagon level to information control, because we all formulate our thoughts, our opinions, and ultimately our actions based on what we know. And we need to know that knowledge base has been altered a long, long time. It's been deliberately altered to keep us looking outside ourselves to authority, to big government, to big pharma, big tech, big cult to cult religion, the self-appointed, self-anointed leaders, rather than going within ourselves and remembering who we are and why we are here, remembering that we have all the power. They only have as much power as we give them or let them steal. They are very deliberately using this formula for mind control on the global population to create a compliant society, a slave society agenda. And once we realize that, we stop cooperating with the plan, because knowledge is our defense against any level of mind control. And it really is truth that makes us free.
Incredible. I mean, Olay, with all the work that you've been doing for the last goodness knows how many years, how important was the aspect of mind control and understanding how that impacts all of us into all your investigatory work and stuff that I know that you're still finding that you were investigating years ago that you're proving to be true today?
I mean, for anyone who doubts mind control, I say, have you ever seen normal marketing, sales methods? That's mind control. It's work on the same level. I did a really interesting interview with a guy called Mike Williams, Sage Quay, radio, wonderful guy, who's also very skilled in hypnosis. And he said, if you look at just the news, mainstream news, the way it's all set up is for hypnosis. It is like, he said, if you watch and now the news, and then they have rotating spheres, very often like a globe or something like that, that is going like that. Or you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, counting down. Then you have the color settings with the red when it's sort of like dramatic, when it's blue, when it should be sincere. And then you got like text tickers down below. If you ever wondered like, what is all of this NASDAQ and these numbers and stuff, it's to get your eyes into this a special rhythm so that you go into a different brainwave so that you are more receptive. I mean, if you look at the patents for television when it came out in the beginning, it is for mind control. That is in the patent itself. And it's called a program, a TV program. It's not by coincidence. And so it's like with this whole, you got the whole Bernard, what's his name? I forgot it. The guy behind Edward Barnett, the guy that came up with the whole concept of propaganda, which is exactly how to mess with this one so that we do what they want and without us understanding it. And then it comes from that normal marketing, the whole way of how you use emotions and how you all kinds of things and music and colors and stuff to open people up, or through fear that, whoa, like that. And then boom, you hammer home the message. And also the way that the news weaponize words like Muslim, terrorist, Islam, Quran, all of these type of things like shooting, mass shooting. It's the same words again and again and again and again. It's that, they weaponize these words. And also, I mean, we come home after a long day's work, mortgage, all of these pressure. And then we think, oh, I have to be a responsible adult. So I'm going to watch the news so I am informed. So we sit down and then it's the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, the colors, the swirl, all of these things. You're tired. Your brainwaves start going down there. You got the text takers down below. Then they start with the weaponized words, boom, 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 boom. And they just hit you with all of these things. And then you think, oh, thank God, I've been responsible. Now I know how to vote and all of these type of things. And otherwise than that, the world is a horrible place to be and everything is going down. Otherwise than that, let's go to sleep. Do you know, sort of, and it's just hammering in the message all the time. But I want to say that when you look at it, the only weapon they have against us is fear. It really is. All of it is based on fear. So if we are like Cathy, who's been really meeting her fears and letting go of them and standing up in courage and bravery and speaking out the way she has. I mean, this is not for wusses, I tell you that. This is hardcore courage. When you do that and you accept that there is an expiry date on this meat suit, and you accept that you might die, that is when you become invincible. And that is what freaks them out, you know, when they cannot longer control you, when they haven't got you by the balls and in fear mode. That's when they lose grip of us. So that is where I think I see in Cathy's eyes also, and that gratitude is the way, you know, to just lift us for a selfish reason, also to get out of the waves where they can hook onto us. Because if they can, they will get us down where they can start controlling us.
Yeah, I mean, Cathy, you have, and you've taught so much of this through the work that you've shared over the years, and it's so obvious that you couldn't have taught that without having done it yourself. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. What an example. And therefore, how do you think this fear is such a controller for people, and it's so easy for people to snap back into it again? You know, both of you with the false flags that are done, but also the constant propaganda. I see it all the time where people bring themselves out of it, but then the next thing hits them and the next thing hits it. So it's almost like this roller coaster of stress they're under. I mean, that's all part of the plan. How are you seeing that play out at the moment, Cathy?
Well, people are waking up and realizing what's going on. They're not buying into the fear like they did when mind control masked as a virus was unleashed on the global population. And everyone was told, you know, mask up, get the injection, social distance, or you're going to die, or grandma's going to die, you know, and it created this fear among people. And then they stepped back and realized, well, we complied, and now our lives are in greater danger than they were before. So they are reevaluating that value and that kind of manipulation. And I think in that process, they're learning to overcome fear by not being manipulated by it. That's what I'm seeing on a mass scale as people take back their own power and their own inner peace and start living life the way it's intended to live in light of purpose. And as for me, after I woke up from mind control and face the reality of what I had experienced, truth really does make us free. And realizing that these perpetrators only have as much power as we give them or let them steal, I realize I'm never going to give them any more power. They're not going to get fear from me. They're not going to get hatred and bitterness from me. I'm going to focus my energy on living love and in opening other people's eyes to that reality too, so that they can rise above the manipulation. So in so many ways, in so many levels and layers, the truth makes us free from fear, and it shows us the magnificence of the life that we live when we live true to soul and live that strength of spirit. When we align with the divine, there is no more fear.
I mean, you know better than everyone, Olay, with all the work that you've looked into the various assassinations, the false flag events, how the timings of these are very pertinent in terms of to bring that fear back into on a global scale. What are you seeing? What changes have you seen over the course of your research that gives you sort of perhaps, well, have you seen any changes that give you hope that they're losing this as the false flag type mechanism as a way to control people?
I've never lost hope. I always known that we're going to be fine. I don't know how I know it, but I just know it. But it's been a long, I'm happy that I didn't know how long this trip would be, because I thought decades ago that we were about to break through. So, but it is what it is. It's like a triathlon, and then just when you're about to reach the end goal and like, oh no, sorry, there's another one waiting for you. Just get up on the. So it's like a non-stop. And when COVID hit, I thought now it's just falling apart, this dark empire in the fall of 2019. I thought now. And in came the last card they pulled out of the sleeve, the whole COVID thing. And that one was rough for me too, because I was so exhausted. And so when the whole thing started again, yet again for another round, it was just like, but it is what it is. And the I don't know if I'm answering your question, but the thing I love with fear is that when you look at it, if you really look at what fear is, it feels so real. It feels so real. But is it? Where is it? Where is fear? Is it square? Is it blue? Is it, can I go and shop it down in Walmart? Where can I get some more fear? You cannot. So where is it? It's here. It's only here. So my fear, it's not in your head, Catherine. It's in my head. So the fear that I experience is in my head, meaning that is actually also a place where I can do stuff with it. And it's because that's where I can start controlling my thoughts or deal with them. And then the other thing with fear, what I love about it is that it's always connected to the future. It has nothing to do with, well, it can be connected to things that have happened, but the fear is that it would be repeated. So it's future and it has not yet happened, meaning it's just pure speculation and it's not real. So when you think of it, what a waste of life, my God, come on. I mean, I'm talking to myself also. How many years have I been worried? Has it ever led to anything good, worrying? No. Has fear ever? Yeah, okay, I avoided being hit by cars and stuff like that's good. But otherwise than that, the fear in my life has only been blockages and negative stuff. It's just been messing with me. So it's like when people ask me, so what can I do? I'm just one person. What can I? You can work with your fear. Let it go. Let it go. Find ways of letting it go, whatever works for you. Bake cookies or listen to music, hug cups or cats or whatever that works for you. But the freer you can become, the less controlled you are, and the harder it is for them to grip, and the more efficient you can be in the world, the more you become devoted to selfless service and really to make a difference in a beautiful way. That is really active actions against them. They say social distancing, I say drive-by huggings. It's like that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. Because it inspires people. It inspires people. In spiritus, when body and mind aligns, spirit enters. And when people see things like and selfless acts of kindness without expecting anything in return, it affects everyone who sees it, not only the giver or the receiver. And it just starts boom, 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 like this. So I'm never worried about changing the world because I know I have no idea. I can't even, I mean, my wife has tried to change me for years, hasn't really succeeded. But otherwise, then, because we cannot change other people, we can only change ourselves. So the only one that you can change is you. The only one I can change is me. And the one I've been waiting for to save me, it's not out there. It's not some kind of governmental figure or whatever, or an army or some white hat type of thing. The only one, or the one I've been waiting for, is this one. I just need to kick myself in the butt, get some courage, and go out and do it in a non-violent, fearless as much as possible way, in a loving way, to just lift and empower.
I think it's so beautifully put, Olay. It really is. And I think so many people, we're hearing so many people now really understand that they cannot wait for someone else to come and rescue them. But there's always a but with it, because people have been in that level of mind control for so long. And Cathy, even though there's so much talk on so many different platforms with so many different types of people across the world now, this understanding that there's so few people controlling this, and yet we're still seeing things play out. So where are you with that process, in terms of, we are still seeing some of these sort of evil geniuses that have no other tools in their toolkit but to ruled by these fear mechanisms. What changes have you seen recently that really give you a lot of joy?
More and more people are shutting off their television. They're shutting off their devices. They're getting out in nature. I'm seeing a huge movement of people getting out in community, talking with each other, eye to eye, heart to heart, soul to soul, and stop this bombardment, this negative bombardment that's coming through the devices. So we need to take long breaks from that, and people are doing that more and more, which is really encouraging to me. I've been waiting for people to wake up my whole life. When I was just a little child, I hoped for some place in the world where people didn't hurt each other. And when intelligence insider Mark Phillips lifted me out of the Washington, D.C. swamp and handed me keys to my own mind, he reminded me of what we all have within us, this resiliency of body, mind, and spirit. And I was so excited to get out and share this information. I needed to draw awareness to my daughter's case and her situation. So it was love for her that compelled me to speak out. It wasn't fear. It wasn't hatred or bitterness. It was love. It was love for her. It was love for humanity. And as I came running out of that hell to empower people with truth, I found that everyone was on their own learning path. And many people had been so ignorant for a long, long time. And as quickly as they'd start to wake up, I watched these circles and cycles happen, like Ole was talking about, where there's been so many times I think, oh, this is it. This is time. No, and then it starts again and again. But it's concentric circles. It's going higher and higher and higher as more and more people wake up, as more and more people get farther down their own learning path to embrace the truth and realize that we have all that power. And when we tap into that infinite power of love, it's where we all unite. And in so many ways, there's like a vibration that rises on the whole planet in that regard, and it continues to escalate, continues to rise. So I'm deeply encouraged by the layers of awareness and embracing of truth that I see happening. It's like a spiritual evolution that's going on as we break free from the manipulation of mind control, because these perpetrators use mind control because they can't touch our strength of the human spirit and the infinite power of love. It's too bright for them. It's too high of a vibration. The only thing they can do is stop our ability to think, to bring it to mind, stop our ability to think, to access it. And that's why mind control is used. If they can keep us in that fear and that lower vibration and manipulate our subconscious mind, then they're able to keep us from tapping into our soul expression. My experience in MK Ultra taught me absolutely that without free thought, there's no free will. With no free will, there's no soul expression. Without soul expression, we don't have that moral compass. We don't have that compassion for each other. We don't have that unity and care that we would naturally have. And when we have our soul expression, then we can tap into the strength of the human spirit and that infinite power of love. It's such a huge change in our whole dynamic. It's our humanity. It's why we are here. It's why we're living this life. And these perpetrators are not like us. They do not like us, and they're doing all they can to keep us from remembering who we are and why we are here. That's why they use mind control. That's why they use these national traumas. Every time people started to wake up, like back in the early 90s, then we would be hit with a national trauma. It would be the Oklahoma City bombing, Waco, Ruby Ridge, something. When people started waking up, then it was 911. And as every time people started waking up, it was another national trauma. And then it became a global trauma, because this is a global slave society agenda. So these traumas, as they happen, if we learn to recognize them and safeguard our free thought and unite, instead, it's game over. We win, they lose. We need to be aware that we're being set up for more of that kind of trauma right now. And the manipulations are in place through contrived polls to set people up to fight each other instead of looking to see, okay, who really is rigging elections? And it's these unelected, self-appointed, self-anointed leaders. When we realize that too, all of a sudden, they have all the power over nations where we think we're electing. So the whole thing just becomes an illusion, just like every other fear that they impose on us. We only need to wake up to that reality and safeguard our free thought going forward. There's some tricks we can use that I've talked about before, but above all, it's the awareness and the knowledge that makes us free.
I mean, Ole, with all the work that you've done, and you know, I've seen so much of the work that you've done, and it's quite incredible how, to me, you use such a fantastic way of, you've developed your intuition to such a high level, but also the critical thinking skills, and very importantly, the ability to teach others to start looking in that way. As Cathy's just said, you know, they, every time sort of mass people start to wake up, they throw something else, and we've all agree of the fact that more people are waking up, or however we want to describe it, than ever before. So what tips can you give people, if any, about what, from all the work you've done on the false flags, what can they look out for? Because you've called things well in advance, and the more of us that can pick this up, the more they just can't get away with it any longer. I hope you're loving this podcast as much as I am. I wanted to take a quick break to tell you about the amazing products by the sponsor of this podcast, the Biophotonic holistic range of products, which help us all take healing to a higher frequency. So Biophotonic have two amazing bioresonance devices, the little BioNexus and the slightly bigger Biophotonic. And this lovely little device is now my go-to support, especially when doing my daily affirmations and manifestation practices. So some of the key benefits of both these machines are improved energy, decreased inflammation, supports immune health, physiological homeostasis, really supports rejuvenation and regeneration and integrity of cells, improves memory, cognitive, emotional and psychological states, speeds up recovery, and just like we've been talking about today, really improves human consciousness support. Some of the key benefits of the Biophotonic little machine: cleansing parasites, giving active protection. You can wear this, take it with you wherever you go. Detoxifies heavy metals, clears EMF radiation out of cells, cleanses bacteria and viruses, detoxes chemicals and toxins, DNA repair, pain management, calming meditation complexes, strengthens the aura field, and frequency packs can be added to water. I think we all know the detrimental impacts of mobile and Bluetooth radiation have been extensively studied, and it's critical that we minimize our exposure to these technologies where possible and avoid utilizing devices that depend on these harmful frequencies for operation. So both the BioNexus and the Biophotonic are standalone devices that do not require a Bluetooth connection, a Wi-Fi connection. You don't need to buy any frequency packages. They don't need a mobile phone to control the device. They don't require the use of electrodes, and they're completely wireless, ready to use straight from the box and very simple to use. So don't forget, you can use both these lovely little devices with your pets and use coupon code CE20 for 20% off all products on the site. The link's below. Thank you.
If it's fear-based, very often, or more or less always, it's them. If it's not fear-based, it's not them. You know, so as soon as you go, be aware, be aware. If something goes like that, that's problem, reaction, solution. They're looking, they're trying to get you into the, and if so, if you feel, or if you see that, boom, something is said to have happened, scary, the world is going on, the finance, everything is melting, everything is dying, oh, it's like a hell, all of this, boom, to get you to say, oh my God, wait for the solution. Take a step back. Don't react right away. Just say, okay, before I'm going to freak out, I'm just going to take one step back and wait to see if there's a solution being served, because nowadays our concentration span is so short due to fluoride water and whatever. And so very often it will be problem, reaction, solution, like bam, 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 like this within a minute, because they're so scared that you will change channel before they get to deliver their solution. So you will see it right in front of your eyes. Boom, something horrible has happened. Oh my God, something needs to be done, us. And then the reporter or somebody else comes with, well, this just shows that we have to microchip more people. Or, you know, it's like they like when there was a mass shooting in Norway, where with all of these teenagers out on the island, the same day in the evening, the head of the Norwegian security police was interviewed. I mean, everybody was traumatized like this. And then she said, well, this wouldn't have happened if they had been microchipped. What the hell does that have to do with anything? But you see, it's marketing and MK Ultra like this, because you are like, you're so open, and then they just smash it in there without you even knowing it. So to be aware of, and boom, see what's coming there. But if you are becoming more aware of the methods, you can just say, oh my God, that's really horrible. If it's true, ask the question, okay, boom, but is it true? Take a step back, breathe a little bit, see what's going on, and wait for, is there a solution being offered to me from that problem? Because if there is a problem that is made by them, they create the problem secretly, the solution will be there before the problem was even thought of. So it's really interesting, and then suddenly it becomes really interesting to watch mainstream news and stuff like that, because you can see, it's like a ball game, like, okay, boom, and then yeah, thank you, and there it was. Okay, now I see. Okay, that I get it now. Now I understand what you did that. But people say to me, yeah, it's so easy for you to stand up and say these things. I tell you, I've been more scared than most people have experienced. I think you excluded, Cathy, but I mean, I've been freaking out more than most, because I've put myself in a lot of very scary situations. So courage, people say, but you are brave, I'm not. You only need to be brave and courageous when you're scared. If you're not scared in a situation, you don't need courage. So to be courageous is to take the fear and just say, I'm going to do it anyway, because I know it's the right thing to do. I know my heart tells me, don't listen to this one. It's called mind control. They get into this one. They cannot control your heart. You need to listen to the heart, and the heart will tell you what is right and what is wrong. You know that from the day you were born on, before you got messed up, when the rest of the adults around you that was been messed up by their messed up parents and whatever messed you up. Your heart knows. So you need to quiet this one down and start listening. And one more thing, I think you met, if I don't misremember, you met Chip Tatum really early. In the 90s or something like that. Chip Tatum was the commander of George Bush Sr.'s private hit team, Pegasus. He was a hitman. He was involved in many horrible stuff during his career and stuff like that. Then he became a whistleblower. We became friends also. And one time I asked him about the mindset of these individuals, because I'm like, what is it all about? I don't get it. What this power thing and this death and destruction and money and desire, what is going on? And he said, it's very simple. The reason you don't understand it is because you're not a psychopathic killer. If you were, this would make perfect sense. So when I heard that, I just felt, I'm not even going to try and understand it. I just accept it's the exact opposite of what I am, and that's it. So I'm not even going to try and see it from their point of view, because they want that way, I want that way. I want the guy up on a cloud with a big beard. They want the guy with a fork and a very suntanned skin color. I mean, what to say? It's like duality. And it is in this duality where plus and minus, good, evil, up, down is needed for this creation. But this is also this playground or life or whatever you want to call it, where we have this possibility to become, if we want, a mass murderer or a saint. That the option, all of the options are there. I just know that I feel a lot better if I follow the path that I think I chose before I even entered into this world. And this is the path I'm walking.
I'd love you to respond to that, Cathy, because there's so much in there. What did that raise for you?
Oh, it's just so beautiful. I love the genius of the explanation and the defining of it all. And it's there's so many aspects that I can relate to very, very deeply. And there have been many whistleblowers come out to expose this dark negative energy force and define the reality that they don't think like we do, and we don't think like they do. We don't want to. They just can't stretch to be able to think like we do. And when we realize that, it's another way that we have all the power within us, and it's game over because they can't stretch to our heights. Mark always said that wisdom outthinks their criminal mind every time. And it does, because wisdom has the depth and the height and the purpose and the love and that infinite strength behind it. Whereas their dark agenda is so low vibration, self-centered, just for them to have something to feed off. So, and I loved what you said about anytime, you feel fear, that's the illusion, that's the control. And I say that often too. And I remind people that if they're feeling fear, if they're feeling immobilized by the negativity that we're being bombarded with, if they're traumatized in any way, or if they have overwhelming grief, because some people are experiencing overwhelming grief too. We can write it out. We can pick up a pen and paper, and it's a brain hack or a mind trick that Mark taught me, where if we move a pen, it activates the logic, critical analysis part of the brain to move that pen. Typing does not do the same thing. So if we pick up that pen and paper and start writing out our immobilizing fear, our trauma, our negativity, then we're opening neuron pathways in our brain. We're rising above the storm, so to speak, where we're actually, mind control needs to shut down neuron pathways. Just the very act of moving that pen is opening those neuron pathways. So we're overcoming right then and there. Write out that negativity and then add a solution. If you force your brain to think of a solution rather than listen to the negative one they're offering through the controlled media, think in terms of your own solution. What would make that positive difference? And write that out too. And that makes the brain fire even in more ways and opens those neuron pathways even more, so that we are lifted out of that dark pit of negativity. So those are some quick tricks we can do anytime trauma occurs. I'm constantly writing and trying to point out exactly what's going on these days so that people will rise above the manipulations. We look back on the Kennedy assassination. And when I say Kennedy assassination, those of us old enough to know see the bullet going into the head. When I say 911, we see the plane flying into the tower. Whether that's exactly the way things happened or not, that's what the media showed us over and over and over again, so that it is ingrained in our mind. Those are the things we need to protect ourselves against and write out. That's a way of being able to maintain our self-control so that we can navigate through these times of transition, so we can navigate safely through these evolutionary times. Our children are all being indoctrinated and manipulated. They have been traumatized with mind control masks as a virus, depersonalized with a mask over their face. They limited oxygen to the brain necessary for critical analysis, free thought. And then they're set in a classroom situation of being indoctrinated and told what to think rather than how to think. And they can't wait on this system to clean up. They can't wait on this growth of concentric circles of people waking up. They need us to protect them and take action now. And the best way we can do that, put writing by hand back in the school system, put a pen, get them away from those devices with the keyboards and give them that pen and paper so they start writing. That alone will open their mind to learning again, of learning how to think rather than being indoctrinated on what to think. So there's little things that we can do for ourselves along the way to accelerate this process, because our children are being targeted with mind control, manipulation, and it's up to us to overcome the generations of conditioning, break that cycle, and empower our children now in light of life's purpose and why we're all really here.
Beautiful.
You know, they say that it's not handwriting, it's actually brain writing when you write like that. When you, as a graphologist, if you look at the handwriting, you actually study the mind of the person and you can see all of these things. It's not the hand physical that is doing it, it's your mind that is. So there's also a reason why dictators, when they take over in a coup d'etat or whatever, the first one they hit are poets, musicians, film writers, filmmakers, these type of things. Why? Because the creative mind. And so the things that you are suggesting is super important, I think, with writing, with music, with creative things to get the mind going. And that, because that is also, if you look at it's the inspiration to so much beauty through pain, transform the pain into beauty, to go through that thing and use that. That's what blues is about. That's what flamenco is about. There's so many different ways to just get it out. And I love the word brainwashing, which they have stolen, because brainwashing is exactly what we need. We need to clean this one and give it a really good rinse and get the crap out. Because the thing is, people say the world is mad. It's not at all. It's just upside down. They've inverted reality, which is the satanic way of doing it. And the head of the CIA, Dick Cheney, in the 1990 or something like that, he said, we will have succeeded the day when everything the American population believes is based on lies. That's where we are now. That it is, they completely turn it upside down. So this makes it really easy because, okay, let me just let that one sink in. If that is true, that means that everything they say is good for me is actually bad. And everything they say is bad for me is actually good. And so people that are supposed to be put in jail for lots of years because of what they're doing might be good, and the people that they are raised up like heroes and this is the one you should follow, please put a question mark and just say, before I'm going to just go after it and take another jab and follow another fake leader or whatever, put a question mark and just take a step back and wait and see. Don't listen to the words are easy, look at the actions. They will tell you anything you want to hear. Look at the actions. Turn down the volume, check out the facial mimics, all of these things. Don't listen to the words, see the actions. And then you will see, I have to be my own leader. Don't wait for someone. Governmente, it means, govern means control, mente means mind. The word government stands for mind control. It's in our face. Yeah, but I'm waiting for the next election. What? I'm sorry to say, it is so rigged from day one. It's been for decades. I don't know any country where there are, well, maybe a few, but that's not many, where there are real elections or have ever been. Because it's, do you want to know how the political system is rigged? Normally, in so-called democracies, there are like 5 parties, one left, one right, or one, yeah, that's normally what they call. And then you got 3 small ones in the middle. and then they fiddle around, and then you say, okay, which one do you want? This is democracy. Choose one. Choose one. The power is in your hands. Okay, so I choose that one. Well, the thing that we don't know is it belongs to me. All of them belongs to me. So whoever you're voting for, at least when you come up to a certain level, belongs to the same power structure. Otherwise, they are not. They're selected, but it's for you to choose which one. And so it's such a waste of life to do all of these things that they want you to. Well, you have to be responsible. Yeah, exactly. You have to be an adult and clear your mind, take the power back, and do the right thing.
Responsibility. I love that word, because to me, it's the ability to respond. It's a
It
choice.
is.
It's the
Yep.
freedom to be able to make that difference. And taking responsibility is a freedom to me, and it's something that I cherish. And other people tend to fear it because they've been conditioned for so long to give that responsibility away, to follow these leaders that, you know, we didn't elect. And the elections have been rigged ever since the inception of the electronic voting machine to strategically place these criminals in high positions of power and influence. I think that in the United States, we had a chance 2016 when so many of us were awake and aware that we overrode the rigged electronic algorithm, the voting machines, to elect a president who was not Hillary Clinton in her New World Order. So once that happened, they had no polls to set anybody up for that. They had no idea that that could happen. They found out that at that point, so many of us were awake and aware and went into a big panic. At that point, the mind control masked as a virus was used in the next election because we were going to override the rigged electronic algorithm again, and they needed another backup plan for it. But as we look back on all this, I'm so excited that when President Trump was in, he exposed drug and human trafficking, their funding mechanism. He exposed this criminal agenda. He exposed the swamp. And everybody was sitting back waiting for the swamp to drain from the top down. Well, the reality is governments, the nations, are run by this handful of unelected, self-appointed, self-anointed global leaders at the top. And that stops it, where one person is not going to be able to drain the swamp from the top down. If there was anything to be learned, is that it's our responsibility, our ability to respond, our ability to drain that swamp from the bottom up. It's up to all of us to govern our own lives and live our own lives. Another aspect of it that I saw come into play at that time is that just because someone has done, oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled with what President Trump did to expose the mind control and the drug and human trafficking, and having known that these perpetrators feared him from so long ago because he couldn't be bought off, he couldn't be compromised, blackmailed, coerced, and they feared him back in the mid-'80s that I know of. So that is just amazing. But I didn't agree with everything. There were many things I didn't agree with. And why should I? I'm thinking for myself. And there's something to all of that we all need to understand, that this system is so corrupted by this handful at the top that no matter what good is unfolding, it doesn't make anyone the leader that we should follow without any thought. It doesn't make any nation the leader of anything. We have forgotten our own power, and that is what we follow. We go within and we find that we are all divinely connected in light of love and truth, and empowered in the most beautiful way to take back control over our own lives. Politics is not going to fix this problem for us. It's the spiritual evolution. Politics might have shown us just how dark things have gotten, but we need to take that responsibility now that we're awake and aware, not be misled anymore, and take back our own power, start living love. Our children need us to do that today. We can't wait for this system to clean up. It's rigged since its inception. You know, we need to rethink the whole thing.
There were some wise things. I can always remember, I don't know if you two ever heard this when you were children, but when I was a child, there was a common saying that, if you went and did something stupid and you blamed it that my friend told me to do it, your mother would say, well, if your friend asked you to jump off a cliff, would you do that too? And but as adults, we lose sense of that, and it's really bizarre to me because in a lot of senses, I'm the most pathetic, non-brave person you can imagine. I've never done a parachute jump. I've never swum with sharks. I haven't even done a bungee jump. So in a lot of ways, there's a lot of things like that I just don't do. I look at the rope and think, no. But in other respects, it just amazes me the things that people are scared of. It amazes me when you look at young children, not, obviously ones that haven't been traumatized right from birth, but when you look at most young children, they've got that rebellious streak. They've got that sense of knowing what's right and what's wrong. And then when their mothers, even when they're tiny and their mothers say that to them, they know it's true. And yet it's so programmed out of people now. It's just really quite shocking to see. And um, do you think part of it is there's so much influence on personalities now? We put so much influence on that if you look at the amount of time that's spent discussing politicians, Elon Musk, whoever it might be, we're just got this obsession almost on both sides with discussing personalities. Do you think that plays into the issue?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, Ole, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so many of the things that are happening right now is done by design. Divide and conquer, go selfish. It's the I, me, mine, the whole thing. Body, but also the destruction of everything, everything. The New World Order is built on destruction of everything, including gender, nations, traditions, people, families, education. It's a matter of destroying everything, confusing everything, destroying country, like I said, also with borders mixing up. So we're all messed up and then divide and conquer by getting everybody to point at each other, and also this whole connection up to the internet where we're completely connected and messed up all the time. I was wondering, is it okay if I read some lyrics that I wrote in the mid-90s? Because I just found them the other day and I feel, my God, they're very up to date still. It's called From Prison. It's called From Prison to Paradise. That title, I had just met David Icke for the first time in 96 or something like that. I thought his name was David Icke. I had no idea who the guy was. No, it was like he said he couldn't even fill a phone booth at the time. We were like 8 people in the audience or whatever. But I loved when he said From Prison to Paradise, that it just sort of like boom. So I made a solo album that was called that. But anyway, it goes like this. Once upon a time, in a place not far from here, there was so much loneliness, despair, and oh, so much fear. Darkness ruled all over the land. There were lightning in the sky, causing wars and separation, with no one knowing why. These evil times raised leaders, disguised as kind and true, hiding the truth in misty fog so only very few people knew, controlled by an elite few, manipulating you and me, closing out the light and power that can make us all be free. Wake up, we gotta wake up. Wake up, we gotta wake up now. Forced by invisible powers, demanded to conform into shapes unknown to mankind, making him totally abnormal. Drowned in debts and sorrows, blaming others for their lot, made man believe to be inferior, feeling tiny like a dot. And now here's where we are now. But then came times of change covering countries and their towns. Few became many, and soon the prison walls came down, starting with the men in the mirror staring right back into their eyes, understanding that this was a chance to stop those hideous lies. Unhappiness is merely an illusion of misery, based on brainwash and a misconception of true reality. From now on, let's build bridges between our souls and hearts, so we together can rejoice when the final change comes to its start. Wake up, we gotta wake up. Wake up, we gotta wake up now. Turning prison into paradise may seem too much to achieve, but believe me, it only takes one strong spirit to be free. The true power of a pyramid is never ever at the top. Instead, it's we the people that can make this global game stop. Did you get it? Wake up, wake up. We gotta wake up.
Wow.
I just felt that the thing we were talking about, it was just like, whoa. So yeah, anyway.
So beautiful.
So beautiful.
Thank you, thank you.
I think that summed it up so beautifully. And you two, there's so much wisdom here, hope, wisdom, but not through false prophecy, through real life examples of what is possible to turn around. What's your final message after that, Cathy?
Oh, I'm just still reeling on the thought of the pyramid of power, the way he inverted it and gave it back to the people in that poem. It's like, wow, that's just so amazing and beautiful, because that is the times we're in right now. What they satanically reversed and flipped upside down. I kind of think of as an hourglass flip, and it's flipping back over to the good right now. And people who buried their hand in their head in the sand, that sand is in that hourglass. It just flipped, and they're going to start seeing. And as they do, they're going to wake up, and they're going to realize that this structure that we've been living has been such an illusion of power and control, when in fact, we all have it within us to live our own truth, to live our purpose. It's an amazing time to be alive, to see this huge global great awakening of people remembering who they are, why they're here, and living the love that they are. Because there's nothing more important to me than living the love that I am, because that is my life's purpose. And with that is the ability to bring truth to light in a way that people can vibrationally hear.
Perfect. I'm going to end it there because you're so powerful, both of you. But Ole, what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Through the heart.
I love that. And then through the heart, through your website.
lightonconspiracies.com, plural, because there's more than one going on, or Damagard.com also. I've got more than 1,200 interviews, 5,000 articles, it's massive. And I think I got stuff about you, Cathy, there as well, of course. And so, yeah, I got, but I'm not into promoting stuff. I'm just really, really, really grateful that I got invited and that I finally got to meet you, Cathy. I've had the pleasure of meeting Catherine before, but you have always been one of these people that I just felt, wow, because I know what it's like to stand up against these individuals. I mean, that is freaking scary. When you meet dark individuals like that, I get good chills. When you stand in front of an individual like that, there's this chilling, icy feeling of death around them that is just scary as hell, literally hell. And to dare to stand up against them and speak out the way you did, oh my God, so inspiring and so amazing. And I'm very grateful for your daughters, from her part of you, that you did it for her also, because yeah, very, very beautiful to watch. And yeah, so I'm just very happy that I could join you tonight here.
Beautiful. And Cathy, what's the best way that people can support you and connect with you?
My website, trance-formation.com, trance-formation.com. I have a lot of articles that I've posted there, and of course my books and movie are available there. People can find PTSD Time to Heal there and apply that easy to self-apply information to themselves, because it reminds us that it's within us all to heal, no matter what life has put in our path. We have the infinite strength of the human spirit and power of love within us to overcome anything. We have resiliency of body, mind, and spirit. We have the ability to look this dark negative energy force right in the face like I have done and see that their hell is very shallow and that they are an illusion. So, truth prevails, love wins. And I'm so thrilled to have been here today to hear this, the magnificent brilliance and eloquence and concise explanations that Ole has shared with us. It's beautiful. This is our time. It's obviously our time to shine and claim our victory.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Cathy. Thank you.
Can I end with a prayer? Is that okay?
Thank you.
I'm not religious, but I have this prayer that our spiritual teacher gave me, and I love it. At first it really messed with my mind because I didn't grasp it, but then after that, it goes like this. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. That is the entire universe, every single square inch, centimeters, wherever you are, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May everyone, and especially the ones who heard us, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Especially the ones who heard us, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all darkness, so victory to that light. Because the worst assholes of our lives are also the greatest teachers. It is thanks to them that we are actually waking up, because we've been so lazy and up our own butt and our own desires and all of these things that apparently it wasn't enough for us to get up to a point where we are now without them being so horrible. So indirectly, on a spiritual level, we have to thank them. I call them black angels. Down here on the street level, I'm going to do everything I can to transcend and mess with their action, operation, whatever it is. So yeah, but it's like they need peace as well, because then it will stop. Otherwise it will just go on and on and on. Beautiful. And there you go.
Thank you so much, everyone, and I'm sure we'll be back. Take care.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. And above all, stay curious and stay free.